Okay, so we want in this question to return the number of digits in a number. If the number is negative, we want to return 0. So the first line, by the way, if ever I forget to record the meeting, please remind me, because I would share it with you guys and be helpful for you guys. So the first line asks the user to input a number. We don't need this. This is just to show that input indeed takes in a string type. I convert this string into an integer. I say that, okay, x is an integer, convert it into integer. I store the integer value into x int to differentiate it from x. I can, of course, save it in x, but then I would lose the value of x. Then I say that if x integer is greater than 0, then return the length of x, the length of the string, else return 0. Okay, and that does exactly what we want it to do. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So let's look at the next question. In a single line of code, extract all elements from a list that are greater than 100. So that's a nice question. So let's look at, let's create a list. So let's say 200. I think this is a question of list comprehension. List comprehension is something like, so I'm just putting random numbers in a list. Okay, and once I have the list, now I want to extract all numbers from this list which are greater than 100. So can you guys tell me what should I print? Has anybody seen? Let me see which section is it? List comprehension. This is page 16. Have you guys seen it? Okay, so we saw that for loop in Python goes over elements of an iteratable object, like for example, a list. So you can go through each element of a list in a for loop. Python allows this nice tool, which is called array comprehension. So I can do this. Y is I greater than 100 for I in X. That's it. So basically what it does is it would go through each element of X. In fact, let me write it element so that it's not confusing. So it will go through each element of X and only collect those elements which are greater than 100, put them in Y. So this is a single line of code and it would do that. Let's print Y and see if it indeed does this or not. So print X and Y. Okay, so X is 200, 533, exactly what we did. And this is extracting just these elements. I think it's probably, if you want to do it well, you should do it this. X. Cannot multiply sequence of non-int like this. Give me a second. So what am I doing here? Okay. So I have to do it like this. I'm sorry. Element times element is greater than this. But this would make it 0. Okay. So basically, let me tell you exactly what's going on. So this line is giving me the index of which elements are greater than 100. So the first two elements are not greater than 100. The rest of the elements are greater than 100. So I can do probably something like this. X of Y. I think that probably would extract the elements for me. And this is okay. I'm missing something. Give me a second. List index must be integer slightly, not list. Okay, how do we extract if we have index true or false? How do we extract the element from there? So we can do something like this. Time this. And then we can say, so this basically would make it either 0 or that number. Okay. And then from this, we can say y is something like this. Y is equal to y greater than 0. This would just extract two values from the one that we want. Sorry. So this would, again, it extract the same thing. Give me a second, I'll think about it. I think I'm missing something. Let's go to the next question. I'll come back to it. In a single line of code, capitalize the first character of the value string in a Python dictionary. So this again is an exercise for Python dictionaries. So let me create a dictionary. So I'll call it my dictionary. And what is the syntax of the dictionary? Dictionary is a key. So let's call it key 1. And then corresponding to it, a value 1. Then key 2, sorry, key 2 and value 2, and so on. You can create as many elements as you want. Let's just print this. Let's call it 1, my dictionary 1, because I'll produce another one. Spellings are not correct. Okay, so this is your dictionary. And then I can just simply say, if I want to capitalize everything, I can just say my dict2 is equal to key and well dot capitalize, if I'm not wrong, capitalize for key and well in underscore dict1. So it does the same thing, goes through each element of the dictionary. And first just do this. Let's just print it. Print key and well. So it would go through each element of the dictionary, extract the key and value, and print it. Okay, I think it is like this. A second. For element index. Oh, I think it iterates over key. For key index underscore dict1 print key. Okay, so it gets keys. So we will do it like this. Okay, so this is like this. For this print key, and the value will be my underscore dict1 key. Okay, so this should work. It should print both the, okay, so it's printing each key and each value from your dictionary. Okay, now we want to make it a new dictionary. So I will say that this is, can we do it like this? Print my dict2. Sorry, this has to be this. Okay, so it's creating a new dictionary. print my underscore dict2, which are exactly the same. Now I just have to capitalize it, and I think I can just do this. Capitalize, which I think should work on a string. Okay, so now you can see that the first element of the values in the second dictionary is capitalized. Is it clear?
Yes.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah, so let's go to the next question. Write a program that checks if a 5-digit positive integer is palindrome. I extend it to any positive integer. Okay, so first thing is, what is a palindrome? So palindrome is a number which reads the same from both directions. So for example, 11211 is a palindrome. Whether you read it from this side or this side, it's same, 11211. That's a number which is, these type of numbers are called palindromes. Okay, so let's do the 5-digit one. So if I enter 5-digit number, I'll say input. Enter a 5-digit number. And since it's a string, we just need to do a simple condition. We need to say that if x of 0 is equal to x of -1. -1 is the last element, 0 is the first element. And x of 1 is equal to x of what would be the second element from n, -2. Then print it's a palindrome. Else print not palindrome. This is half the question. It's still not complete, but let's have a look at it. Let's give it 11211. So it's a palindrome. Let's run it again, and let's give it 1 2 3 4 5. It's not a palindrome. Okay, so this is half correct. Other part of this is that we need to check, write a program that checks if 5 positive. So we don't need to check in question whether it's a positive integer or not, but you can do something like this. You can say this, who do this all thing if integer part of x is greater than 0. Else you can just output negative number. Now let's give it something like this, negative number, and there is still not complete because I haven't put a check in it which makes sure that the number is indeed 5-digit. Because let's say, what would happen if I give it something like this? If I give it just 1, what would happen? Any ideas? The hint is you will get an error, but can you tell me why we would get an error and what the error would be?
Not a palindrome.
It would give an error because you are looking at the second element of x here, right? You're looking at x1, which is the second element of the string, but your string does not have 2 elements. It is just 1 element. So let's see if we indeed get an error or not. We did get an error. String index out of range. So how would we make sure that we indeed it works on a 5-digit number? Very simple. You can just do this. You can say that so all the 5-digit numbers are yeah, you can do length x. Yeah, that's an easier way. If this and length of x is equal to 5. So now it would be fine. I have to change this condition slightly, but I'll do it. A negative number or not 5 digits. Okay, so now this should work. This is a complete set of code. It does the right thing. So we give it anything, it would negative number or not 5 digits. So that's a code for this. Write a program which will find all such numbers that are divisible by 7 but are not a multiple of 4 between 100 and 1500 both included. The number obtained should be printed in a comma separated sequence on a single line. So let me try this. Okay, so we have to go from all numbers between 100 and 1500. So I'm going to use both numpy s and p, and probably I will do this. X is equal to np dot a range from I'm assuming it would take in, let me just look at the help of this. So it takes the starting point, and the step. So the starting point is 100, and the stopping point should be 1501 because it doesn't take the last element, and we need it till 1500. So let's just double check. Let's make it 120 so that we can actually see it, that it is doing indeed what we want. It's going from 0 to 119. We give it 121, it will go from 100 to 120. So I want it to go from 100 to 1500, so it should be 1501. Now what do we need to check? We need to check that it's divisible by 4 and not a multiple of 4. So how do I check if a number is divisible by 4? So I can I do some list comprehension? I think I can. I can do something like this. Element mod 7 is equal to 0 for element in X. And let's do it for a small interval. Let's say we will extend it, but because I'm printing stuff, I don't want to do it on the entire log array. Print y. Okay, so this seems fine. It is selecting the elements which are true. And what do I do after that? I do the same for, I'll call it x div 7. So this is x which are divisible by 7. Then I will do x not multiple of 4. And this would be exactly the same code, but 4 is not equal to 0. Okay, so print x div 7 and y not mul 4. Okay, so then the index would be, index of the elements that I want to get is x div 7 times x not mul 4. That's the true indices that I want. And I can just do this, x and Let me just see. One second. Okay. Anyways, so let me do this. Print x, and so I have to do this. I have to get index from this true false vector. So let me just do this. Print and first x div 7 is not defined. Yes, it's not. Spellings are incorrect. X n mul 4 is not defined. X n mul 4. So cannot multiply sequence of non-list by list. Sorry, let me see. Type x div 7. So it's a list. And 4. It's also a list. Okay. Give me a second. Let me just debug this problem and I'll get back to you. I am making some mistake in the indexing of the arrays. So basically this, both of them should be working fine. It should be a direct product, but can't multiply sequence of non-lists, non-int. Okay, these are non-integers, so they are not the multiplication is only valid for lists which have integer values. So I can do this. I can make it an integer, and I can make this an integer. Now this should work. Okay. Okay. And x step 7. Multiply sequence of non-int type of list. These are both int type now. And 4. Anyway, I'll give me a second and I'll debug it. Let's just do one more question. After that, you guys can work on your problems and I'll try to fix this. I'm going to leave 3.8 for you guys because it's an interesting question. If you guys can't do it, we'll do it tomorrow. Let's do the text-based calculator. This is 3.9. So you will get a string which is number 1, operation number 2, and you would have to return the output. So let's do this. Let's call it my string. And my string would be input, enter the calculation, and you would enter something. It would be in the string. Now we need to do this, split this string into three parts, get number one, get the operation, get the number two. So I would say that x is equal to my underscore string dot split. And where do we want to split it? We want to split it at space. Okay. And then number one, the first number would be x of 0. The second number would be x of 2. And the operation would be x of 1. Okay. And we need to convert these into integer. Let's assume that our data is integer. You can do it float as well, but for now, let's do it integer. Let's run it. So we will do something like 3 plus 5. And I'm assuming that this would be fine. Okay, so you have everything that you need. Now we have to do this. If op is equal to plus, then print number one plus number two. If op is equal to minus, then print number one minus number two, and so on. I'll just do plus and minus, but you can of course extend it to anything that you want. So let's do 3 plus 8. Okay, what is the error? Okay, number one is not defined. It is indeed not defined. This is an O. So 3 plus 5, sorry. 3 plus 5 is 8, which is indeed the right answer. Let's do it for a subtraction. So let's say 96 minus 7 is equal to 89. So it works. You can extend it. So let me stop sharing my screen for a bit. I'm going to just look at the documentation of the lists. I haven't worked with it for a very long time. Try to fix the issues that we had in two problems. And I'll get back to you in like 5-10 minutes. Let me just fix this. Okay. Thank you. Okay, guys. So people have asked a couple of questions. So uh, what happens to indentation? So indentation is basically indentation defines the flow of Python code. So you only indent the part which performs a certain block. It's called namespace. So go to this. Um, uh, Go through the notebook. It explains it in detail. You cannot indent things randomly. You have to follow a particular pattern of indentation in Python code. Okay. So, and somebody asked, what is the course outline? So the pre-course survey is to define that. So now that I know your level, I would put in the topics, at least for the first week on the website tonight, and then in the coming days for the second week as well. So let's come back to some of the questions that we had issues with. It's very minor issues. The thing is, so we had to extract this question. We had to extract element which is greater than 100. So once you do this list comprehension, you can do something very simple. You can put conditions here as well. You can say that if element is greater than 100, and that's it. That prints everything. So you can see that the original array was 200, 533, etc., etc. But the new array just has elements which are greater than 100. Does everyone follow? So in list comprehension, you can put conditions here as well. It's not that you can only do operations here. You can put conditions here as well. Is everyone with me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Excellent. So is this clear? Perfect. Let's do the second one where we had issues. It was this one. So if we can do this, then things become easy. So we can just do this. We say just select those elements. Y is the set of those elements for elements if what are the two conditions? Element is divisible by 7, sorry, is equal to 0, and it's not divisible by 4. Element 4 is not equal to 0. Okay, and that would do it. Why? Okay, so it's these number 105 is divisible by 7 but not by 4. 119 is divisible by 7 and not by 4. If you want to find all the elements from 0 to 1500, you just extend the range, and that's it. This is the list of all the elements. Okay, so with this, I'm going to leave you guys to give a try to the rest of the questions. By the way, I'm doing the questions for the first time with you as well, because I don't want to solve the question before and then solve them for you. I want to go through the same process that you guys are going, where you solve it and then there is a mistake and you Google it, check for the solution, then do it, because that's what you need to learn. With Python, there is a huge amount of documentation and support on the internet. Any problem that you face, somebody else might have faced it as well before you. So just go and check and you will find a solution for that. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to be available, but I'm not going to explain any new topics in the last 20-25 minutes. Do your exercises and we will go over whatever difficult exercises or you guys difficulty in tomorrow before we start the new topics. Thank you. Guys, one thing, at any time, if you have question, please feel free to ask, stop me and put it in the chat. I keep looking at the chat. If, for example, I'm not looking at the chat, just unmute yourself and ask your question. Don't wait too long. Don't lag behind the class, because then you would have issues understanding other things. So just stop me and ask your questions. It's fine. And the other thing is, please fill in the pre-course survey. This is just for me to get an idea of what topics to focus on for the coming days. I have around 19 responses, but I want all 28 responses so that we can come up with something which is beneficial for everyone. Thank you.